Alright, so let me show you what I got going on here tonight. I'm doing stuff with the WK. So lately I noticed sounds like, it's weird to describe it, it's kind of like a clicking noise or a clack clack clack, like a little rattle as I'm coasting to a stop sometimes. And it's really weird because it doesn't do it all the time. But it sounded to me like there's something coming from like either one of the front CV shafts or the front drive shaft, just when it's spinning, you know, idling down, not idling, but like coasting down to speed. There's something rattling around a little bit. So I jacked everything up, got it up in the air, got my tires off the ground, front tires up on jack stands so I can see what's going on. And I think I figured out what my issue is here. So right here, this is the back of my front drive shaft where it goes into the transfer case. And on the WK you got these CV or Rosepa, I guess they're called, style, which I'm not a huge fan of, but they put them in all the more recent ones. So anyway, I think what's happening here, the only place I could find any play is just a little tiny bit in this front joint. See if I can get a better view of that. Alright, so when I move the shaft by hand, you can barely see right at the joint there where they go together. The shaft moves, but I'm holding this rear section, and so I can move the shaft and hold this, and there's a tiny little bit of play there. It's really hard. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not. Try one more time to get a good shot of that. I don't know if you can see it or not. When I move this, right in between where the shaft goes into this joint, and I think that right there, right there, you can hear it click click and see that moving. That's, I think, is what's causing my noise. So what that means is this joint is wearing out. I don't know if they sell rebuild kits for these or not. I'm gonna look that up. And my other option is I'm just gonna get a new front drive shaft out of a WK at the junkyard, because I think there's probably a couple out there that I can steal from. So I'm gonna go see what I can figure out in terms of parts, and then we'll figure that out. Alright, so I just did a quick search online and I think I found what I'm looking for. I found what looks like the same part for the rear of the front drive shaft. The boot is different on the front, and so I think this is the right one. It doesn't specify the front or rear joint, but hopefully the picture is correct, and that is the correct one. It says it fits the 07 Grand Cherokee and doesn't cost a whole lot, so I'm going to go ahead and order that, and then when it gets here we'll see if it fits. Alright, it's been a few days since I last did anything on the WK, but I got my part for the front drive shaft CV joint. There's the part, a bunch of grease, joint down in there, etc. So I've never done one of these before, but I think I got the general idea, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, so the first thing I got to do is get the drive shaft out so I can get that joint taken apart. So to do that, got to take out these little bolts. They're 8mm or 5/16, either one will work because they're pretty much identical. So there's this side by the transfer case, and then the other side up there. Can't quite see it because it's hidden back in there, but it's up by the front axle. And before I do that though, I'm going to take this skid plate off the bottom. So it's fairly easy. It's just 4 bolts that take that off, and it'll come right off, and that'll give me a lot better access to those bolts up there. So I'm going to do that first. So the front holes on the skid plate and hold it on are keyholed, so you don't have to take these out all the way. You can just loosen up a little bit, and then once you get the rear ones out, the whole thing will slide out and come off. And that gives me a lot better access to the front drive shaft. You can see the bolts kind of back there. Alright, so there's, I don't know, 6 maybe of these bolts around here. I'm just using a little 1/4-inch ratchet. Just got to take all 6 of those out on each side, and then the drive shaft should be able to get finagled out of there. So when you're getting these bolts out, You can see, maybe you can't, but I got two of them out here, that one and the one over there. But now I got to get the ones up top, and it probably would make it a lot easier to rotate the drive shaft. And so in order to be able to do that, you're going to want to put the transfer case in neutral, because that'll let you rotate this. But before you do that, make sure you got the wheels chocked and parking brake on, because you don't want it to roll. So I'm going to go do that, and then I can rotate this around. Alright, now that I got the transfer case in neutral, I should be able to rotate this around, maybe. You know what? I can't, because the front wheels are still on the ground. So let me take care of that. Alright, so you don't actually have to get both wheels up, just one, because now I'm reaching over. I can turn the tire, and you can see it's turning the drive shaft. So now I should be able to get those other bolts loosened up and taken out of there. Alright, so on the rear side, back by the transfer case, got the same thing here. We got 6 of those little 8mm, so we'll get those out. If yours don't want to come out this easily, you may want to either have someone else hold the wheel or put the tire back on the ground so it holds the drive shaft from turning. These are actually coming out fairly easy because I actually had these out a few months back. I was working on the wiring on the transmission. I didn't catch any of that on video, but we were working on the transmission wiring, and we also changed out the bushings around the front differential because they were worn pretty good. I didn't get any of that on video, but anyway, these have been out in the past 3 months or so, so also probably helping so it's not too hard to get out. Anyway, I'm gonna get these bolts taken out, and then I will try and get the drive shaft itself out. Alright, and now I should be able to get this out. There we go. Now the fun part is going to be trying to figure out how I got this out, because the drive shaft compresses a little bit, and about there, but that's about it. So I got to figure out how the heck did I do this the last time I had this thing out. Alright, so I think I just may have figured it out. Let's see if it comes out. If you put the front back in the yoke up front and then push the back forward, you can get the rear out, and then it slides back rearward. The question is that enough to get it out? It's definitely closer. Oh, yep. It's really close. Against back there. Gas tank, okay. So now my problem is I got it up against the gas tank back there, on the cross member here, and right here the exhaust is blocking me from going further forward. I don't know, let's see what I can figure out. Alright, so now I'm thinking maybe if I take this skid plate off, this is a transfer case skid plate, it'll give me just enough room to drop that down. Yep, I think I'm going to have to lower this cross member, at least partially. So let me figure that out. So apparently I slammed that one pretty good off-road. You can see the top of the thing is pretty well distorted. That's going to be really fun. This one too. Wow, I scraped these up really bad. Got them all except this one. It's going to be a bugger. Alright, question is that enough? Alright, so need to get far side still and lower that down. I got a jack supporting it, so I gotta get those far side ones out a little bit. Let's see how that goes. Let's see if I can drop that down a little bit. Hey, there we go. I gotta move the camera though. You're in my way. Oh, alright, that was just enough. That's what I needed to get that out of there. Success. Alright, I got the drive shaft out. Let's see what we got to work with here. So this is the end that I'm going to replace. Alright, so now I got it out of here. We can take a look at this and you can see, I don't know if you can see, but you can hear it. Let me get a closer look. So this end, definitely playing that end. And it's fine that it does this, but I'm twisting and that's where you don't want to play. So I think that's where my rattle noise is coming from. And the other end, that one seems fine, no problem there. It pivots, but there's no play along the axis. So I don't know how you get these things apart. It looks like this is just bent on over that, so I need something that I can pry this cap off with, I guess, probably. And I don't have to worry about destroying it, so that might make it easier. Anyway, I'm going to take one apart, so let's see what I can figure out. Alright, let's try something else. Okay, I don't want to go in too far because somewhere in there is my shaft and I don't want to really go in there. But I'm trying to see if I can get something in here to start destroying this thing basically. Wonder what the real way is to do this. I'm sure there's probably some technique that's a whole lot easier than this. I got an idea. Oh, look at that. Should have thought of that sooner. Of course, the solution is always cut and destroy. Alright, so I was wondering about this. The new kit came with a gasket, but it's only one. And so I wasn't sure if it went on the inside or the outside. And when I thought about it, I thought, okay, it's probably the outside because there's a rubber boot here. And the rubber boot probably seals it on that side in there. And then the gasket goes here. And sure enough, when I took this one apart, there's the gasket. So the gasket does go on the outside. So now you can see, now that I got this open, that that's pretty dried up. Not a whole lot of, I mean, there's some grease there and stuff, but anyway, I'll get it the rest of the way apart and then we can look at it further. Right. There's the gasket I was talking about. Now we can get a good look at this thing. Yep, and obviously I did some of that, like right there is where I scored it when I was cutting it, but pretty dried out, and there's definitely play in it. It shouldn't be there. So anyway, there's a snap ring right there that's what holds it from coming off here, so I should just be able to undo that snap ring and then pull this off. So much junk in there, my snap ring screws don't want to go in. is. Alright, now, this in theory should slide out. However, there's also this this metal band which holds the boot on, so I need to free that up somehow. Okay. Right. In theory, I should be able to pull this off now. Good. Alright, the boot is pretty well on there though. Just because it's so old. There we go. The rubber's just so old it's like dried on there. This has got to be the original, and I got about 155,000 miles on this thing, so it's definitely not new. There we go. Alright. Old joint off. Now I just have to get the new joint on. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Yeah, there's all kinds of little metal shavings in there and stuff, so that thing was dying pretty good. So I'm going to get that cleaned up, and then I'll get the new joint ready. There we go. That's a lot nicer. Just spray some brake cleaner down in there and get the rest. I think that'll do. That looks pretty good to me. Alright, so I got my new end here. So we got oh, look at that, they gave me new bolts too. I am not going to use those though because these are Allen head, and I think I would rather stick with the ones that are in there, the yeah, 5/16. Alright, so here's my joint. There's the one seal I was talking about. There's the inner piece and the outer piece. And I would guess these just kind of push on and then you just kind of bend that over. Let's see, somewhere in here there's a clamp. There it is. So this is a different style than the one that was on there. It was like a pinched style. This is the, it's like a pull style. You pull it through there and it gets smaller. I have a tool for that. I've never used the tool for that, so that'll be something new to figure out, but I bought a tool to put that on, so we'll see how that works too. Alright, so first things first, this piece goes on that. Presumably if I put a little grease in there, it'll probably go on a little nicer. Little thing of grease they gave me here, which I'll squeeze in there when I'm all done. For now, just gonna put a little on the outside so that thing slides on a little easier. At least that's my theory. Oh yeah, that made it go on super easy. Well, okay, not super easy, but easier. Okay, there we go. Goes there. This piece, I don't think there's an in and out on this. Oh, there is. The lip is different. I don't know if you can tell, but the lip is thicker on one side than the other, so I need to figure out which side goes where. Looks like the thicker side, yeah, goes inward. Yep, because this is a thinner lip than this. So the thicker side on that, it looks like goes inward. So this has got to go on here. Push that out of my way for now. So thicker side towards that. I'm going to grease that up a little bit just to help it. a nice clean finger. I should probably be using gloves, but I ran out of gloves, so. Well, it is what it is. I'm sure it'll be fine. If it lasts another 150,000 miles, I'll be happy. Is this not the right splines? Nope, it is. Whew. First I thought it wasn't going to fit. Okay, and there's a little groove in the end there for the snap ring. That's what I'm feeling for right now. Alright. The fun part is like, how do you get that to go? I guess it just pushes on. We'll get to that when it's all together in a second, I guess. Should be a snap ring in here somewhere. There it is. Nice snap ring. Okay. Let's see how troublesome this is. About that troublesome. Woo! I got lucky. It went right there. Alright, so this time, let me hold on to that a little better. I'm actually going to put this, prop this up here on the ice. Let's see if I can get this thing on now. Okay. But, got it mostly out. I should be able to just tap it in there now. This side is up a little bit too far. Ooh, no, don't come off. There we go. There, it just got in there. So now you can see it's rotating freely, which means it's in that groove, which is nice. So now that won't come out. Yep. Okay. All right. Now that I think about this, I think I may have messed up. I don't know though. I'm wondering, am I supposed to pack the grease in this side first, or do I just shove it down inside here? It's probably supposed to go in there, which means I should pull this ring off, pull that out. I should squirt some grease down in there and then put it back together. So I'm gonna do that. All right, that was fun, short-lived. Let's see if I can get this off without losing it. I'll save a little bit for the other side. And hopefully this doesn't all just squish out my holes there. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to squish the rest of it down in here. Trying to get it all down inside the mechanism there, because there's a vent hole on the top of this, so any extra stuff is just going to spooge out the vent hole. So I like to get it all down inside if I can. Like I said, never really done one of these before. I know the basic theory, but I'm learning as I go. Alright, I think I call that good. Oop, don't want to forget my seal. And this, I just need to make sure I line up my holes. And so I'm going to use these bolts just as a alignment tool here, just to keep it in line. While I kind of push this together. Okay, now I need to figure out how I'm going to push this together. I'm thinking just squeezing it in the vise. So let's see what that does. Need to squeeze the cover onto either side of this so they stay together. So I'm just going to go around each side where I don't have my alignment. Things in here. Now, when I put this back into the Jeep, the bolts are going to pull it together as well. So it doesn't have to be perfect, I don't think, but I imagine you want it together as so it's not going to come apart and squirt grease everywhere. I'm going to remove my bolts I was using to keep it lined up and then squeeze those together as well, just to get it all nice and even. Okay, I guess that's where that goes now. Just realized I forgot to put the band on here, but I think I can still get it on. I know I can get it on, it's just going to be a pain in the butt, so we'll see how much of a pain it is in a minute. Alright, I don't know, what do you think? Does that look pretty good? Looks pretty good to me. Okay, now I just need to get that band on there. If I can find out what I did with it. There it is. Okay. So this is going to suck because I didn't do this right. So instead of just sliding it over, I actually have to unravel this whole thing. Goes through twice. And through twice. Alright, now I have to figure out how to do this. I bought a tool, but I've never actually done one of these. So I'll figure that out. Okay, I think I understand this thing. So it's got a little cutter on the end here. And then this thing, a little spool, you feed it through there. And wrap it. Alright, see what happens. Alright, so you take the end and you feed it underneath this little thing. And then it goes into that slot, which you then use to line this, right? And if you're doing this and you don't have enough tension with this little thing, you can put a socket wrench on there too. But I think this will be fine for this one. Sufficient tension, whatever sufficient tension is. I think that's good. And then this is a cutter, so when I do, oh wait, so now I fold it over so that it holds, and then I cut it with the cutter. Oh, look at that. I think I did it right. And then you just fold this piece down, even though I made it a little too short. I probably shouldn't have cut it that short because it doesn't fit underneath these things, which kind of sucks. Oh well, can't uncut it now. So when you do this, don't put it right up against that because the cutter is not going to give you enough length to get back to that. So there. Now I know for next time, but nothing I can do about it this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shove a little piece under here, and then I'm going to bend it over the top, put it over that, and then tap that into there so that it holds it maybe. Alright, there we go. I think that'll work. I don't think it's going to come off. You can see right there is where my original one was, and how it was short of this, so that's why I put this extra piece over the top. It's still folded over good on here, so it's not going to slip out unless this piece unfolds and lets it slip, and so by having that piece over the top, I think that'll help it so it doesn't unfold and slip out. I think it'll be good. I'll find out. I think it is ready to go back in. I think I got this slightly rotated, which is going to make it fun because the bolts don't want to slip right in. Yeah, they're off. See how that bolt is crooked? So I didn't line this up right when I pushed it together. I think I'm going to take it back out and get these lined up right. Alright, so I took it out and I ran the bolts through all the way just to make sure they're lined up. They're lined up okay, they're just catching just slightly on this the little silver end piece, so I think if I just thread them in That'll be fine. Alright, now as I'm putting this in, I'm going to go around and try and, because it's going to try and pull this in, and I want it to pull it in evenly. I don't want it to try and pull it in crooked, because this gap right here needs to be pulled down. So I'm just going to go around, snug them all up first. Alright, so you can see it's pulling it in because this gap's getting smaller. Alright, so now that I did the rear, I gotta do the same thing with the front. The front is a whole lot harder to get to and see though, so I'm probably not gonna film a whole lot. I'm just gonna try and get it in. Same thing though, I'm trying to get these 6 bolts back in to hold the front drive shaft in. So I'm just gonna go and get those put in and then get back to you. Alright, slight change of plans. So before I get the front back together, I need to get the cross member back in because I need my jack, which is currently holding up the cross member and the transmission. I need that to lift the front up just slightly to get the wheel off the ground, because I've got a jack stand under it, but apparently not high enough that the wheel is actually off the ground. And so I can't rotate the front drive shaft because both wheels are still on the ground. So I'm gonna just get the cross member bolted back in so that I can use the jack. All right, now I'm gonna go get the front in and I'll get back to you. All right, it's in. New joint on the end. Drive shaft is back in. I didn't put the skid plates back on yet because it's late and I'm tired. But everything's in. It should be fine. I will put the skid plates in tomorrow. That's going to be all for tonight.